And we are back. And hopefully it's not too loud. It's very windy at the moment. I love the wind so much, but it can be loud and cold. Anyway, so I sat down to record and I had another experience of feeling myself preparing. And I began to think about how in the past I would sort of redirect myself and just say, we know that this is no longer needed, and just hit the record button and start. But this time I did something different. I just sort of closed my eyes and smiled internally and externally and sat with this part of myself that wanted to figure something out before solidifying myself in footage, I guess you could say. So I just sat here with myself and nurtured myself for a couple minutes. Because through my years of self-discovery, I know exactly why I do this. I know exactly why this is an aspect of my reality. And it makes so much sense. In a way that I can be so very compassionate towards myself. And then I began thinking about how I'm going to speak about this. I'm going to speak about what I just experienced. And this was while I had my eyes closed and I was sort of sitting with myself. I was like, this is going to be how I begin my video. And then I felt myself go into that mode again where I was thinking about what I would say. So I sort of began to prepare again. And I was able to recognize it and acknowledge it and sort of sit with this aspect of myself as well. It was like multiple layers of this same energy. And it was just sort of funny to me how it happened. And how it happened so sneakily. It was very sneaky. But I was able to perceive it and acknowledge and nurture. And here we are. We are back. And now I'm very unsure of where to go next. There was multiple times this morning where I had thoughts about what I could speak about. Great thoughts. But we know that that never works out for me. At least at this point. I've got to just come in and just do it off the cuff. Allow things to happen naturally. Which is a wonderful thing. And I feel grateful to have that understanding of self. to know what works for me and what doesn't. And to accept that, reality. It's like, in this moment of silence, I'm making some decisions. And maybe this is just a step of manifesting these decisions into reality. And the same thing happened yesterday. And I'm speaking about things that I'm thinking about, so you have no idea what I'm talking about right now. I was thinking about the idea of beginning to challenge myself to let go of certain things that I say. And I spoke about this yesterday. Of letting go of mentioning that I'm repeating myself, or letting go of acknowledging the silence. And I was just thinking, you know what, maybe I could make a video where I sort of vow to myself to sit with those experiences without verbally acknowledging them to the viewer. And then the part of me popped up that was like, let's talk about this. And that's when I said, maybe this will be the first step. I'm going to talk about my goal of not mentioning this by mentioning it. I have no idea if that makes any sense to anyone, but it makes sense to me. And that's okay. That's okay. It's like, if I use that as an example, it's like I have these experiences internally, things that I perceive that are just so intellectually delicious and meaningful and sort of profound. And as I've spoken about before, it's been a challenge of mine to communicate these experiences. And it's great because this is no longer, I feel like this is no longer a need for me. In the past, it was a need. I needed to do it. But I feel as though I'm getting to this place where I no longer have this need. It's like my own experience is becoming enough. And I can be so grateful and thankful to God for allowing me to have these experiences. Even if they're unable to be shared in a way that I feel is good enough. And maybe me just talking about that experience is all that's required. The truth is, I've come to this place where now that I'm beginning to let go of this need, I'm able to acknowledge and be grateful for the fact that, and confident enough to make this claim. The fact that my life has been absolutely extraordinary. And I'm getting chills. My life has been absolutely extraordinary. And so much of it feels it cannot be shared. It's completely invisible. It's completely, you can't put it into words. And as I mentioned, for so long, I had this need to do that. But as I said, I feel like I'm gaining this freedom of allowing myself to enjoy this fact. I don't need the validation of others in regards to what I just said. The fact that my life has been absolutely extraordinary. You wouldn't think it looking from the outside. It's sort of a complete illusion, in a sense. And it's like so much of, when I say that my life has been extraordinary, it all has to do with my perception. And I remember when I first came to this idea and accepted it, finally was able to let go of that need to share it and communicate it and say, this is just a fact in itself. I was able to take it a step further and assert to myself the fact that my life has been extraordinary because I'm an extraordinary person. And I feel like so much of this channel so far has been getting to this point of confidence and self-expression to begin to make these claims fearlessly. I'm an extraordinary person. Wow, we're at 15 minutes. Let's end it here. I love how this video just happened. And there was again, such comfort. All right.